Japanese saying about leave the table a little hungry. It's kind of like that. I always like being hungry before I teach, and then that way it's like I get that incentive to just kind of push through, and I know at the end I get to go home and have a little bite or something. So it gets me going really good. Of course, all this is being recorded. So now you guys know all my little trade secrets. But these are the extensors. Now, the Dorito, though, the Anconius, because it's the one when you straighten out, you can actually see it. It looks triangular. And some people, you can really see it. It's also the thing that allows you to not feel the bone any longer. Like I could, from elbow, I could definitely feel my ulna. Then I could feel the ridge here, or I should say furrow. Bone, 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 and then it stops because I hit the Anconius, especially when you straighten your arm, because that's what the triceps are doing. Triceps are straightening out your arm, and your flexor or extensors are straightening out your fingers. So this is going to look just like that little Dorito. You can see that little spiky triangular muscle. And this one, I'll rotate this around before I even press it in there. That's the Anconius. And then at your leisure, you could separate the other three fingers. Remember, the Anconius is like the thumb and then the three fingers. You could just put two little lines in the middle of that clump of muscle will create three muscles. Does that make sense? If I make one line here and one line there, all of a sudden you have 1, 2, 3 muscles. Same thing with these. You have the one going here, and then you make a line, and you have them separated. And then you can just kind of shape them a little bit so that you go from here, from the general to the specific. Okay. Now, the twins. You ready for these? Because this isn't done yet. This is the part I kept pointing to people, saying you need bones showing down here and up there. Because the one up, the higher one is for the deltoid. The lower one is for the twins. And the twins are the extensor carpi radialis longus and the brachioradialis. Now you see why I call them the twins. Okay, it's just much easier to remember. Okay, now I'm going to actually, the way I drew the twins, I drew them together and then I split them. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to basically make one muscle and then it's easier to split it. Okay, so these look a little bit more like a wedge because they have to fit in that little spot, the bony area right down there. It's these right here. So you have to put them in there. They split the front of the arm muscles, which are the biceps, from the triceps. And see, they're not touching anything. They're in the bone like this. And then they follow wherever the thumb is. That's why you have to look at your thumb and see where it is, because some of you have this, some of you have this, some of you have this. And it doesn't matter. You start in the same spot and you follow the thumb. So no matter who you are, A and B doesn't change. The only thing that changes is the pose. Does that make sense? See, I don't have to erase this and redraw it if I move my arm. That goes with it, and so does your clay. So if I see where the thumb is, I think, oh, I see, it goes this way, and it follows the thumb, and those are, sure enough, the twins. Isn't that amazing? There, like that. See that? And now all of a sudden, it looks like an arm. How do you like them apples? You like that? You like them apples? Manzanas? Like them manzanas? So there it is. Okay, now, what the hell else did I talk about? Oh, the sternocleidomastoideus. Okay, so now, sternocleidomastoideus. I see where it goes, and I think I have a little bit too much trapezius here, but that's okay. Trapezius actually ends here like this. See that fingernail mark? That's actually, this side is the trapezius, the back side, like that. See that I made a little fingernail mark? Because the otherwise it looked like the sternocleidomastoideus was going to go over it, and it shouldn't. They're kind of like next to each other. It's this, the operative word is this mastoid process. See this little bump that you have on your skull? And you can feel it. It's right behind your earlobe. Right here, I have a big bump right here. Big bump, that's your mastoid process. See that, G girl? Mm-hmm. For some reason, I can't stop doing this. Oh, okay. So now, that's the mastoid process. So sternocleidomastoideus, sure enough, there's one there. Isn't that amazing? See that little mastoid process? It's adorable when you see everything all miniaturized, little tiny things. Okay? Especially when you know what they are. Otherwise, nobody really cares. Okay, so this is the sternocleidomastoideus. It starts as a tubular form, and it splits and becomes like a fork. So I'm going to do it in two pieces, but don't think it's two muscles. It is one. It's just that it splits. Oftentimes you don't see the one. Remember I showed you on me that you can definitely see the one that goes to the sternum, right? But you can't see the one that goes to the clavicle. I've only seen it a few times, and it's usually thinner people. Sometimes it's older people, and more often than not, it's older women, because they have a lot less subcutaneous fat around their necks. And when they do this, you'll see it. You'll see that other part, and you will see it. But more often than not, you look at it on each other, and you won't see it. You'll just see like the one. But because we're doing an net crochet, we have to do both. I'm sizing it right now. It needs to go from here to here, and you guys have to do the same thing. So I'm eyeballing it, and I'm putting it on there, and you have to do the same thing because everybody has just a slight variation of that distance, right? So now I'm putting in the second part. Remember, it's not a second muscle, it's just a second part of the same muscle. It forks, it splits, and it's flatter. And because it's flatter, it disappears under a thick sheet of muscle that you have around your neck, the platysma, the one that is very stringy, like this, and it pulls down your mouth, the corners of your mouth. So this is basically what it would look like. This is one muscle that splits into two. This flat part goes on the clavicle. This part goes right to your sternum, hence sternocleidomastoideus. Is all this coming back to you? Mm-hmm. And Deborah did a really beautiful crochet. Did you name it? Bubba?
No, I didn't.
Charlie? Yeah, you should.
I think it's because I'm still wanting to change parts of it. So when I feel
So when you
happy
feel
with
it's
it,
finished, so it's never going to be
maybe,
named.
yeah, I'll never get a name.
I understand. This code, this women speak. I kind of know it well by now. Kind of cute. Okay, so I'll rotate this and you can see. It's not finished, but you get the idea. One goes to, and it's really easy because remember those three spots because that's what the name implies. Sternocleidomastoideus. So you got the three spots. Do you see that, Sarah? And you have really good, the handouts are really clear. Remember to use the arm handouts because they're really clear. Now, the deltoid is pretty fun because it's such a recognizable muscle. The one thing you guys have to be careful with, though, is that sometimes you guys get carried away and use the rest of the clay that you have left, and you end up with like this big, huge shoulder size of the skull. So just be careful not to overdo it. Really look at it and make sure it looks like it makes sense to you. Now, again, he's pretty big. He's a pretty athletic-looking crochet, so I can get away with a little bit of a bigger deltoid. Now you can see why it's much easier to do a guy because you can actually exaggerate a little bit, and it's okay. To do a female, you have to make everything so svelte that you really have to use a lot more finesse, and it's just much harder. So it's not anything insulting. It's just it's much easier. Plus, without all the external stuff, breasts and all that, it just always ends up looking kind of masculine anyway. Okay, so remember, back, front, then side, in whatever order you would like. The back one goes further into the back than the front goes into the front. If that makes sense. It's like my hand. Like if I take my hand, I don't want, it's my thumb is shorter, my fingers are longer. So in the front, I would put it here, and the back goes further. So do you see what I'm saying? So the back goes a little further, and I'm trying to do that right now, and then I'm going to rotate it before I go any further. Okay, so it's attached to the spine of the scapula. Can you see that, you guys? Okay, and I will kind of rotate it, and you guys can stop me whenever you want. Did you guys get that? Okay, let me. Okay, never mind. I know you can Photoshop me out later. Am I still in the pictures that when you tell me? It's like, no, Ray, move. Okay, now I'm out of the way.
I'm recording.
Oh, you are? Oh, boy, am I red in the face. Okay, so there it is. You got it? I get a little hammy sometimes. I'm actually basically very shy. But when I teach, there's something that happens. I don't know what happens, but I turn into a different person. Yeah, it's a very strange thing because this is something that petrified me for years and years of speaking in front of people. So it's one thing I wanted to work on all my life, and then I realized that what I needed was a reason for speaking in front of people. So when you believe in something deeply, then it overrides any of those fears you might have. There's that. So now I'm like the first one to want to do a toast, even if it's not like a wedding of anybody I know. Just you finally
You
got that.
crunch part.
Yeah, the crunch part is just to do the crunch. Not to eat or anything, just like, oh, here, and then people are like, yeah, exactly. But then I get hired to come back and do other, bar mitzvahs and stuff. And so, Toastmaster. So there's the back, then there's the front. Oh, has anybody ever been to a bat mitzvah or bar mitzvah? Anybody? If you ever get invited, by all means, cancel everything and go. They're really great parties. It's a celebration of like a young man or young lady becoming an adult, and boy, I'll tell you, the parents just go all out. It's like going to a really, really neat wedding. Plus, it's just a really neat thing to experience, like somebody else's culture, it's just really fun. But because I've taught privately for so long, I've been invited to really neat stuff, different cultures, different things that I just wasn't familiar with. And it's really, really quite eye-opening and stunning. There. That's front, back, now the side. You ready for this? Because this will be it. And then you'll see that it's finished. See it so far? Now, the one thing I didn't put on here is the aponeurosis, which I hope you guys do. Remember the latissimus dorsi to the vertebra? You need a little piece of the pink sculpey there, which I don't have. And the reason I don't like to put the pink sculpey on these because I take things off. And when I put the pink sculpey, of course, it blends in, and I can't, take it off very easily. But you guys will because you're not taking this on and off like I am, poor guy. So it's just like weekly thing where I take muscles off, put them on, take them off, put them on. I like it though; it's a lot of fun.
Should we get like a recording of someone screaming, so next time you do it, just play it?
Like it sounds like some torture thing.
Yeah.
No, but I don't think I want to do that.
Got the Wilhelm scream.
There. That's the deltoid. And again, make it to whatever side. Now, it doesn't have necessarily just three of those parts. This is the way I do it. The deltoid has three major parts, but each part actually is bundled as well. If you'll see that on, again, athletic people, men and women, they'll raise their arm and you'll see bundles. It's really beautiful. And there's no set number that I know of. But there are three distinct different sections. There's a front section, and a side section, and a front section. So basically it will end up looking like that, and you can see that there's the exposed bone there. Now that's it. That's finished. That looks good. You like that? And of course, when I step back, you guys could come in here and do whatever you need to get better shots, whatever, and that will be the finished product. Pretty neat, huh? Okay, let's go ahead and you guys do it and have fun. But remember, those handouts will really, really help initially. I did do the little baby twins. Don't forget the little baby twins I didn't put on, but you guys can do that. I'll put the baby twins, the little mini twins on right now, okay?
Right here, that part?
Yeah, they're like over here. They go to the thumb. And you'll see that on your handouts. They're very, very clear on your handouts. Like that, okay? Now you guys, aren't those adorable? They're like little mini versions of that. You could even see them. You could actually see them moving.
And
See
there's
them?
another one, right? Another twin too.
There's two.
The
There's
big
one
twins
little one.
and the little twins. Now, for all the pictures you guys take, I'm still surprised you guys are doing it all goofy. So make sure that if you guys are going to take the time to take all these pictures, make sure that you actually do it and it looks good.